So we have ternary operators in every programming language. Similarly, we have them in Python also. Let's say, for example, I have a equal to 10. I have, let's say, b equal to 5. And if I want to find out which one is the greatest, so I'll write the code like this. If a is greater than b, I will say print a is greater. Else, I will say print b is greater. I save this. If I run this, because 10 is greater than 5, this condition will be true, and hence output will be a is greater. So if I right click and run this, a is greater. Now similarly, this can be written as like this also, like this. So if you write them in ternary operator, it will be like this: print a is greater if a is greater than b, else b is greater. Print b is greater. This is how you write basically in ternary operator. Okay. Print a is greater if a is greater than b, else b is greater. So if you right click and run this, again you will be getting the same output. If I make b 50 and then run this, then b is greater. Let's take one more example. Let's say for ternary. So if I write something like this, age equal to 18, and I'm writing ternary condition can drive if age is greater than equal to 18, else cannot drive. So I won't be getting any output here because I'm not printing it, right? But also this is also ternary condition. So can drive if age is greater than equal to 18, else cannot drive. So this condition I can store into output of this complete expression. I can store into one variable, which will be, let's say, q1. And if you print q1 now, so if you print q1 now, it will be this value. It will be this value, can drive, because this condition is getting true, right? If I right click and run, you see can drive. If I make it 17, then and run this, then it is cannot drive. So now let's talk about, so this was about ternary operator. Let's talk about the list now. So I prefer to teach list before string. After list, we'll go for the string. Let's say, for example, in Python, if I store something like this x equal to 10. So what happens behind the scenes? One box is getting created, right? What is the value of what is the name of this box or address of this box? X. And what's the value over it? Value over it is 10. If I make it, let's say, for example, only for this box, if I make x equal to 100, what will happen? This 10 will be moving out and it will be replaced with the 100. And if you want to print the updated value of x, you simply need to write print x. So 100 will be printed. So here 100 will be printed, right? Let's say I store something like this, city equal to Pune. Again one box will be created. So again one box will be created. The address of the box will be, let's say the address of the box will be city, and the value over it will be Pune. Now if you update the value, let's say you say city equal to new value, let's say Bhopal. So what will happen behind the scenes? This will be moving out and it will replace with Bhopal. But if I want to store more than one value in a single memory, then I have a data type which is list. I have the data type list. Let's say for example, I define a data type list list cities with the name cities, and I basically stored multiple values over it. So comma separated values. So let's say Pune, Nagpur, and Indore. So what is happening here behind the scenes? One box is getting created. So address of this box is, that's the address of the box is cities, and the value will be stored into, value will be stored by index. So let's say for example, here will be one block, here will be one block. So for the first block, you will have the value Pune. Second block, you will have the value Nagpur. The third block, you'll be having the value Indore. And list stores the value by index. So index basically start 0. So if you see at index 0, it is Pune, right? At index 1, it is Nagpur. At index 1, it is Nagpur. And at index 2, it is basically Indore. So if you want to store more than one value on a single memory, you will come up with list. So this is list. How the list are formed? In square brackets, comma separate values, and list stores the value by index. So this is at 0 index, this is at first index, and this is at second index. If you want to print the value at first index, 0 index, you will basically do like this: print name of the list. Name of the list is cities, cities of 0. So the cities of 0 will give you the cities of 0 will give you Pune. Is this fine? Cities of 1 will give you Nagpur. Cities of 2 will give you Indore. If I stop recording, if I stop sharing this, I move back to my file. Okay, see here. So I'm starting with list now. So this is, let's say, from 1, defining a list. So how you define a list? You define a list like this. Let's say I'm defining a list of names, strings. Let's say I have Chinmay, Shirish, I have now. So if I print it, I say print names. So I right click and run, I will be getting this list. If you want to make sure that what data type it is, basically you basically call the type function, and I've passed names to it. So I'm passing the list name to it, and it will basically show me it belongs to a type of list only. When I can have the list of numbers also. Let's say I have here list of marks, and here it can be 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. If I print it, if I say print marks, I will be getting a list of type integer. If I run this, I will get the complete list. If I basically print type of list, I will be getting marks. It belongs to the class list. So it belongs to the class list. I can have a list which has combinations of data types like boolean, string, and integer. So you can have list with multiple data types. So let's say for example, I am basically having the list info, And at info, I can have string as well as I can have number as well as I can have Boolean value also. So you can create a list with multiple data types. So let's say if I can print this info, if I print type of this, again I will be getting list only. So this type of info will be list only. If I right click and run this, I will be getting it belongs to the type list only. Now let's say program 2. So how you retrieve the element from the list? Now this is the second topic. So let's say I define a list again. I define a list of flowers. Let's say the flowers are, if you understand, the flowers are like this. So let's say I have lily, lily, jasmine, rose. Mm, mm. And let's say from here, if I understand this, it stores the value by index. So this is at 0 index, this is at first index, this is at second index, this is at third index, and this is at fourth index. So if you come here by, so also it can, we can retrieve it by negative index also. This is at -1, this is at -2, this is at -3, this is at -4, and this is at -5. So now if I print it, so so I can retrieve the value by either positive index or negative index. Let's say I print something like this. I say print flowers of 0. When I print flowers of 0, I will be getting the value at index 0. So it will be lily. When I print, let's say, flowers of -5. So at -5 also I am having the value lily only. If I right click and run this, same output I will be getting. You can also find the values by range, right? So if I want to just slice this list, I can also slice this. Okay. You can say like this, slicing the list. Slicing the list. So let's say for example, how it works. List name, whatever is the list name, then you can have start index, you can have end index, and then you can have steps. You can also have steps. So this is the syntax. And the end index value is not included. Okay, not included. So there will be multiple combinations. We'll see one by one. Let's say this is my list, right? And I want only jasmine and rose, right? So how will I retrieve this? So I will say print flowers. I want the value from starting from jasmine. So 1, because jasmine is at index 1, colon. I will just want jasmine and rose. So I will be giving the end index to be 3. So if I print this, I will be getting one list, and that list will only hold two values. Starting from 1, it will start from 1, it will go till marigold, will not include marigold. So I will be just getting jasmine and rose. Right, so here output will be jasmine, comma, rose. If you right click and run this, jasmine and rose. Next, take another example. Let's say if I say I want the value from index 0 to 4. When I say 0 to 4, in this case, output will be, it will start from 0, it will go till 4, but it will not include 4. So lily, jasmine, rose, and marigold. So I'll be getting this output because end value is not included, right? If you right click and run this, you'll get the same output. Now let's have a combination where I have just a negative number, like a range of negative numbers. Let's say if I start with -5 and I want to end at -1, so it will start from -5. Again, it will go till lotus, but will not include lotus because end value is not included, right? N index, which where the range you have given, will not be included. So if I run it from this, like say -5 to -1, -1 will not be included. So again, it will give me lily, jasmine, rose, and marigold only. So if I run this, I'll be getting the same output. Let's say for this, after this, let's say if I take 1 as positive, let's say I try to find from 1 till -5. So I'm starting from 1, let's say not -5, let's say 4 or 3. So I'm starting from -1, I'm starting from -1 or -5. I'm starting from -5 and going till 3. So I'm starting from this -5 and I'm going till 3. So -5 will be lily and 3 will be marigold. So end index will not be included. So I will be only getting lily, jasmine, and rose for this combination -5 to 3. So if I right click and run this, it should not be comma, it should be colon here. And if I right click and run this, so lily, jasmine, rose. If you see this, -5 to 3. So -5, I will go till 3. 3 will not be included. So I will be getting lily, jasmine, and rose only. Let's have another combination where I starting with the positive. So let's say flowers, and here it says, let's say 1, 1, 2, -1. So 1, 2, -1. So it will start with basically jasmine. It will go till lotus, will not include lotus. So it output will be jasmine, rose, and marigold. I right click and run this. Jasmine, 1. Jasmine, rose, and marigold. If I can save this and run this again, it should be colon. Right click and run. Jasmine, rose, and marigold. So I've tried it with only positive numbers, low starting index, only starting negative index, then positive, positive, negative, 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 positive, positive, negative. You need to remember one thing. If I basically, your start index should be always ahead of your end index, should be always ahead of start index. For example, if I give something like this here, if I say go till -1 to let's say 4, if I -1 to -4. So at here, the start index is at lotus and end index is behind the start index. In such case, it will not return you the values, it will return you the blank list. So your start index should always be ahead of end index. In this case, -1 to -4. Here my start index and behind this is the end index. So this way it will not work. So it will return you the blank list. See, it is returning you the blank list. Now let's say for example, I will define another list. I say marks. And this list is basically having the values. Let's say 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10. And I want to slice this. So how I'm slicing it, I'm saying slice this marks list. Start from 1, and last thing we'll be doing will be index slice till index 8 or 9. Let's say 8, and I'm saying the step size of, let's say, 2. So now how it will work? So it will basically start from 1. So 1 will be 22. Let me quickly give the index to this list. So this is will be at 0, this will be at 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be at 4, this will be at 5, this will be at 6, this will be at 7, this will be at 8, and this will be at 9. So if I start from 1, I will start from 1 and I will go till 8, will not include it. And I keep the step size as 2. So it will take 22, then 44, then directly the second element 55, then 88, like this. So we rightly can run this. So you see 22, then second step size, right? 2, it will jump to the second 44, then 66, and then 88. If I keep it 3, and if I say start from 0, and I say start and till 9, let's say. So what will be the output? It will start from 0 and it will directly jump to the third element. So 11, net 22, 33. Okay. Now step size is 3, right? So third element directly. So if I run this, so 11, then the third element 44, then the third element 77, like this. So this is the step size. So this was about retrieving the value from the list or slicing the list. Now, let's say looping through a list. The program 3, how you loop through a list, right? So looping through list. See, I will define another list here. I will define the cities list again. Cities 2 equal to, I will say, Pune, Nagpur, Bangalore, Kolkata, Chennai, Mysore. If you have 0 here, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. And if I want to find the length of the list, total number of elements in the list, say I want to find total number of elements, number of elements in list. So how will I find the total number of elements on list? There is a length function. So you can find it like this, length. And to this length function, you can pass the cities to list name, and it will give me the total number of elements. So total number of elements will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if I print this, or if I store it into one variable, let's say q1, and if I print q1, let's say I right click and run this. So I'll be getting 6 because this list is containing 6 elements. Fine. If I just want to loop through it, so there are two ways to loop through it. Loop, two ways to loop through a list. There are two ways to loop through a list. So one is using the range function, using range function. Another would be without using the range function. Range function. So let's say so before this, what is loop like? If you want to do a certain task repeatedly, right, we'll be using loop. Any programming language have two loops. One will be for loop and another will be while loop. And we'll talk about the loops also. We have not taken that topic. So now my focus is basically for these tutorials. My focus is basically now to start learning the data types. So I'm starting with the list. Then I will move to string. Then there is tuple. These are inbuilt data types. Tuple. Then we'll move to dictionary. Then we'll move to set. So these are the data types we'll be looking for. So we started with the list today. So how you basically loop through the list. So see, this is the list I have, right? Let me quickly copy paste this again for your reference. And if it's okay if you want to print the one value, right? You can print it like this. So this is at 0 index, this is at 1 index, this is at second index, this is at third, and this is fourth, and this is fifth. If I just want to print the one value, that's fine, right? I can print it like this. I'll say print cities of 0, city 2 of 0. If you print this cities of 0, it's fine. We'll be getting the first value. If you want to print it like this also, second for the first value, the value at index 1, the second value, I'll be getting the Nagpur. But if a list is so huge, right? Let's say Pune Nagpur, right? But if I say the city is so huge, right? Let's say for example it contains 100 elements. So it is not possible for you. It is not possible for you to basically go and print every index like this city 2 of 0, city 2 of cities 2 of 1. So you'll be using loop instead, right? So using the range function. Now how the range function, now we need to understand this, how the range function works. Let's say, for example, if I say for x in range and I pass one value to it, let's say I pass 10 to this range. So this range function, again, if you pass just one value, okay, so it will have also the start index, end index, and it will also have the steps. Let's say, for example, if I say start index, so if I just pass one value like 10, so this is considered end index. Okay, so let's see this now. So if I say for x in range of 10, so by default it will consider the start value to be 0 and it will give me the values from for x. So values for x will be 0 to 9 because again end index is not included. So this is not included. So if I right click and run this, it will give me value from 0 to 9. 0 to 9. Let's say I pass two values. Let's say I pass something like this for x in range and I pass here 1 to 10. Now it will consider at start index will be considered as 1 and end index will be considered as 0. So this will be giving me value from, let's say, so this will now give me the value from 1 to 10, but 10 will not be included. So 1 to 9. So if I run this, see, I will be getting the value from 1 to 9, starting from 1 to 9. So for range also the end index is not included. Let's say for example, I write something like this for x in range and I pass a value like it starts from 2, it will end to 21 and step size of 2. So now I will be getting the values Basically, I will getting the table of 2 because I am starting at 2. I am starting at 2. I'm going till 21, but 21 will not be included. And the steps types I have kept is 2. So I will be getting 2, 4, 6, 8 like this. So I run this. I run this. I will be getting the table of 2. You can see at output, right? Table of 2. So by default, the step size is 1. If I mention more than 1, then for this range, the step size will be this. Now, how to use this range function to loop over a list? Okay, this is the next portion. Okay, so I will again define a list. Let's say I define this time I define a list of vegetables. The vegetables, and I will have here is lily. Sorry, tomato will be fruit. Let's say I start with cabbage. Then I have brinjal. Then I have brinjal. Then I have cauliflower. And then I have ladyfinger. So if I understand, it shows the value by index. So here it will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this will be the index, right? So if I print vegetables of 0, if I print vegetables of 0, if I run this, so it will be cabbage. See, it will be cabbage. But let's say, for example, and if I printed the length of this, so length of vegetables, it will be total number of elements. Total number of elements here are 4. So the length will be 4. See 4. Now let's loop through it, means print the every element of list. I want to print every element of list using the range function. So how I will proceed for this? So I'll say for atom in range, and I am passing the range to be the length of list. So indirectly, the length of list will be 4 only, and I am printing the printing atom. So this length of vegetable will be replaced with what? Indirectly with 4. And for atom in range 4, print atom. So I'll be getting 0, 1, 2, 3. I will be getting this index value because this is considered end index, which is not included. Because I am not passing the start index, the default start index will be 0. So if I run this, I will be getting 0, 1, 2, 3. So I will be getting all the index for the list also, because I'm basically passing the value as length of list. But I don't want to print, right? I don't want to print what you say, the index of the list. I want the element of the list. So what I will be doing, instead of item, I will be saying print. I can say print vegetables. Instead of I can say print vegetables of item. So when the loop runs for the first time, the item value was 0, and vegetables of 0 will have cabbage. When the loop runs for the second time, item value will be 1, and vegetables of 1 will be brinjal. When the loop runs for the third time, item value will be 2, and vegetable value will be cauliflower. When the loop runs for the final time, item value will be 3, and vegetables of 3 will be ladyfinger. This way, we can print all the values. Is this fine? Here you will have atom. Right click and run this. So we'll be getting all the elements of the list. Let's say another way to
Either we use item or like the
you can use
number of the range of items, so it's same.
here.
No, in print, like you said,
Yeah,
vegetable.
so when you print item, you will be getting the indexes, right? You will get the index,
Yes.
right? 0, 1, 2, 3. When you
Yes.
use print vegetable of the item, you will be getting the elements of the list. So you'll be getting this elements of the list. So my purpose of starting this was to basically get every element of the list, right? So you should not be doing print item. You should be doing print vegetables of item, right? The item value will be replaced with number of with this indices, and you will be getting the different elements of list, right?
Okay. Thank you.
The another way is basically the easy way, where you just no need to use range function. You can simply write like this: for item in list. What is the list name? Vegetables. Here you don't need to worry about index and everything. It will basically take the value by index only. You just need to write like this: for item in vegetables, print item. That's it. So for item in vegetables, if you say print item, you will be getting the values for that. So right click and run this. I will be getting again all the elements of the list. So this is very straightforward and simple, right? Let me take another list. Let's say I take a list of numbers. Let's say I have numbers as 1, 1, then I have 2, 2, 2, then I have 3, 3, 3, then I have 4, 4, 4, 4, and let's say I have 5, 5, 5. So I have to loop through this using two ways. So how will I loop through? By using in range for, let's say, for, let's say, number in numbers. I will say print number. This is the first way, simple way. You will getting every element of the list, let's say. The second will be using the range function. Using the range function, how will I write this? I will say for numbers, for number in range, and to the range I need to pass the length of numbers. If I just print number here, I will be getting, if I just print the number here, I will be getting index of the list, all the indexes of the list. So let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I right click and run, I will be getting all the index. But if I want the values, then I have to print like print numbers of number. So numbers of numbers will give me this, right? Right click and run. So I will be getting the elements of the list with numbers of number. Now the next will be check whether a particular element exists in
Sir,
list. Yeah.
so is number a function or something?
No, you can have X here also.
Okay. So we have
So
defined it.
yeah, we define it. So automatically it will basically define here in the for loop, right? You can have any variable here. So using the
Okay.
range, if you print X, it will basically give the index, and if you say numbers of X, then you will get the list values. And this is the
Okay.
most simple way, where if you say for X in numbers, print X, so you'll be getting directly the elements, right? So
Okay.
using range first, you will get the index. You have to basically write numbers of X, so you will get the elements. This way you can directly basically have X, which will only give you the elements of the list. Okay. So let's say here we are checking for a particular element to be exist in list or not. Okay. So let's say for example, If I define a list, let's say I again define a list of numbers only, or let's say countries, and I define a list like this. Let's say India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And if I want to check whether a particular country exists or not, the simple way will be using in operator. So I can use the in operator. Let's say, for example, if I say print countries, so if I say India in list name, so what is the list name? So list name is countries. So if I say India in countries, right? And Python is case sensitive, right? So if I say India in countries, India exists in this country list. The output for this will be a Boolean value, which in this case will be true. So if I right click and run this, see, it is true, right? But if I make this capital, right? And I run this, so then output will be false. If you basically see this, the output is false here. So let's take a input from the user. So we can do also this. Like if you want to take the input from command line, so you can use the function which is input. Right? Let's say input. And I say X. So whatever the user enters will be basically getting stored into the X. Okay. So I'll just comment this for time being, and I will say I want to find whether a particular element exists in list or country exists in the list. If I found, I will say country found. If it is not found, I will say country not found, right? So what I will simply do here, I will say enter the country name. So enter the country name. Country name. Then I will write the conditional statement if X, because this value, this will return me one string value, which I have stored into a variable X. So if I'll say if X in list, what is the list name? Countries. Then I can have a message because this expression will then be evaluated to true. Because this expression will be evaluated to true, I can say print countries available. Countries available. Else print country not available. So now if I right click and run this, I will be asked with this, right? Enter the country name. Let's say I write the country as Sri Lanka. And it is there in the list, right? Right. So if I enter it, countries available. If I run this program again, and if I try to type something which is not available, let's say I type China, which is not in the list, so it said country not available. So this input is used to take the values from the user. If that value is available, you can find it with the in operator. You can say print country is available, or else you can say print country is not available. So I think this will be the whole. I think this much will be enough for you to practice.